Hey guys, I am currently making my way up north to tackle the Gibb River Road, which I'm so excited about. It's been on my list for quite a few years. Tonight I've stopped over next to the Fortescue River. You might be able to see it behind me there, in such an unreal campsite. I can't believe I'm pretty much the only one here. But it dawned on me the other day that while we've covered a lot of this canopy fit out in quite a lot of detail with all the installations and building bits and pieces, we haven't actually covered how I'm going to be doing my off-grid cooking when out on adventures just like this. So I'm going to make this video all about that today. So essentially my vision behind this new canopy setup was to go as electric as possible for a lot of reasons, but one of them was that it actually allows you to replenish your cooking fuel source while you're driving along, which you can't do with gas. And what I mean by that is as you're driving, your battery is charging and that's your cooking fuel source. And it allows you to use a variety of really versatile gear. So today I'll just run you through a few basic pieces that I've got to make my camp cooking possible. Now I thought it makes sense to start with what we'll be using the most frequently while we're out in our adventures, and that's going to be this Dune single induction cooktop. Now I've actually owned this one for just over a year and it's been fantastic. Super easy to use, heats like nothing else, and it comes with this little storage bag which just happens to fit perfectly next to my fridge. Induction cooking is definitely a massive luxury when you're camping off-grid like I am right now, miles from any civilization. But if you do have a 12 volt / 240 volt setup that can run one of these, there are a lot of advantages. Number one, and probably the most beneficial one of the whole list, is that these are completely unaffected by wind. There's no flame to blow out, so it doesn't matter if you're down the beach and it's blowing a gale, you can still use these without any issues whatsoever. Advantage number two, and probably the first thing that I noticed when I got this unit, was that these get incredibly hot incredibly quickly. Like as soon as you chuck a pot of water on one of these and turn it on to the max setting, you'll already see bubbles down the bottom. And I could probably boil water in this at least twice as fast as I could on a conventional gas burner. So if you want to get your meal going in a hurry, this is definitely the way to go. Benefit number three is you don't have to worry about lugging around heavy gas bottles or getting gas bottle refills like we mentioned earlier in the video. Now I know that does kind of get replaced by needing a bigger battery and an inverter as well, but for me it's just a massive advantage not necessarily having to bring along that extra gas bottle. Advantage number four is that this thing is so tiny and it makes it so compact and easy to store. You saw earlier this slots in right next to my fridge, which is so convenient, and especially when you're doing big trips like this. Like I'm away for almost a month now and this whole car is packed pretty much to the limit, so having something this compact and convenient to store is a massive win. And the fifth benefit I'll mention is because the top of this is just essentially one flat piece of glass, it is so easy to clean. I normally just grab a grime wipe out of my pantry there, give it a wipe down, and it looks good as new. And that's a massive benefit for camping setups, I find, because we've all had those gas cookers that we've had for a year or more, and you know, like when you're cooking and stuff overflows and they just end up absolutely full of gunk, whereas this still looks new after a lot of use. And I reckon just looking at the front of that is a bit of a testament to that. Ignore all my fingerprints, but I've been using this for just over a year now, on and off. Obviously my last setup had a gas cooker as well, and I reckon that still looks pretty much good as new. Now those benefits are all well and good so long as you have power, because if your battery dies, guess what? No more induction cooking. So for that reason, I wanted to try and organize a bit of a backup for our setup to essentially get us out of trouble if we ever happen to run out of battery power, but it also couldn't take up too much space in the setup, otherwise the cons start outweighing the benefits. So I did a lot of hunting online and I eventually found what I think is the perfect solution, and that's this Campmaster spider stove. So the whole stove fits in this tiny little storage box and it is so easy to set up. So essentially we just take it out of its little storage box, undo the small clip on the front, open the lid up, swing the burner out, extend our little pots and pan shields just there. It runs off these standard little butane tanks. So we just clip that in place, close the guard down. It's got a built-in piezo ignition, so you just twist that, click at the end, flame lights, and we're ready to cook. How easy is that? I honestly love this little stove. I really appreciate camping gadgets that kind of go that extra level or think outside the box a little bit. And the fact that this folds up so incredibly small, sets up really quick and easily, and still allows you to essentially use a full-size pot or a pan is just fantastic. Next up is a bit of gear that's pretty new to me, but after using it a couple of times already, I reckon I'm already a convert, and that's my Dune 4-wheel drive 12 volt camp oven. It essentially works just like your oven at home, except obviously a fair bit smaller. Inside we get a couple of removable trays to store a few different levels of food, or you can take one out fully to store a slightly larger dish. It runs off 12 volt power, so we don't even need that big inverter either, and it just has like a little Anderson plug on the end to plug into your battery setup. Now it draws about 10 amps, and what a lot of people do do with units like these is mount them somewhere in their canopy setup and have their food cooking while they're driving along. That way they can rock up at camp and have their dinner already made, which sounds pretty good to me. Now, I haven't done that to mine yet, but I might very well mount mine down the track, but it's got some little rubber feet on the bottom, so I've just been using mine as essentially like a standalone unit, and I just get it out when I'm wanting to use it. And I also have a little Anderson outlet on my headboard just here, so I just plug it in and away I go. So you can cook pretty much anything in these things, from a simple sausage roll to a full-on casserole or a roast dinner. Last night I actually made myself a couple of mini pizzas for dinner, which were absolutely delicious, and I'm looking forward to trying out some more meals as time goes on. As for using the unit, one thing I found really helps is giving this about half an hour or so to heat up before you add your food, and that just speeds up the cooking process. Now, electric cooking definitely comes with a cost, which is setting up a decent 12-volt system with enough juice to run all your appliances for as long as you need. But if you've got that sorted, then the benefits are pretty massive. So Bianca and I are going to be testing out this whole set over the next 6 to 12 months to see how it fits in with our camping needs, and also if we think the pros outweigh the cons, so we shall report back with those findings. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. There'll be links to all this gear in the description down below, or feel free to ask me any questions about this stuff down there as well, and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Stay tuned for some Gibb River Road episodes coming out shortly, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.